Welcome back, toy fans, to episode 197 of Ronald's Reviews. And on today's episode, we're going to give you a rundown of our top 5 favourite Transformers toys. Cue the march. Welcome back, everyone. Now, like I said in the intro, today we are going to give you a rundown of our top 5 favourite Transformers toys. Now, you'll notice I said we, and that is because if you follow the channel closely, you'll know that every so often I enjoy a good collaboration video. Recently, I did mass collaborations with our Dave from Monkey Boys Toys, but today we have got another one of my favourite people from another one of my favourite channels, and that is our Matt from over at Keep On Collecting. Absolutely awesome guy, runs a fantastic channel with his friend Andy. If you love vintage toys, get over there and check it out. I will leave a link in the description afterwards. But Matt has recently been in touch. We've got our heads together and he said, you know what, would you like to do a top 5 countdown of our favourite Transformers toys? And of course, immediately I said yes. And what better person to do it with? Matt loves his Transformers, as do I. So today we're going to take you on a top 5 rundown of our favourite Transformers and show you who made our list. Let's jump straight in. Okay, folks, here we go. Now, just before I start on the list, now you can see who's at my number 5, but I just want to say that what I loved about Transformers when I was a kid was just that idea that these sort of robots or these cyborgs can come down from another planet and take on the shape of everyday sort of vehicles on Earth. So recognisable vehicles like Bumblebee was a Beetle and I think Jazz was a Porsche, wasn't it? And just remember thinking that these are all vehicles that we recognise, and I just loved that concept. Absolutely loved Transformers, and it was a mainstay of my Saturday morning cartoon watching. Absolutely loved Transformers. But in at my number 5, as you can see, is Grimlock. Now, Grimlock is obviously the leader of the Dinobots, so now we're not talking about vehicles as in cars or sort of planes or whatever, we're now talking about dinosaurs. Now, weirdly, I'm not a huge fan of dinosaurs when it comes to toys, but put them in a Transformers format and I am absolutely in. So in at number 5 is the leader of the Dinobots, Grimlock, for me. I absolutely love him. A T-Rex, and even though he was the leader of the Dinobots, he was kind of seen as the sort of simpleton of the group, I guess.
Throw the switch, Grimlock!
Me, Grimlock, ready, but forgot which button.
I went through it with him 5 times.
But I just loved how ferocious he was, just how powerful he was, and yeah, absolutely love Grimlock. This was very, very kindly donated to me by Jodie over at Gen X Toys Geek. This is the reissue version, but that doesn't bother me at all because I love the idea that with the reissues you can get them in a box and get them all minty new and with the instructions, all the accessories, etc. But another thing that I loved about Transformers as well is the boxes, those iconic boxes with the images on the front, that big recognisable logo with the grid. And also what I liked about Transformers, especially as a kid, was, and not a lot of toy lines did this, you could instantly recognise whether you were looking at a good guy or a bad guy, an Autobot or a Decepticon, because the Autobots had that lovely red detail on the box and the Decepticons had the purple detailing. So, but this guy is absolutely awesome. Completely in awe of the Dinobots when I was a kid, and Grimlock was one Transformer that I always wanted as a kid and never ended up getting, so I'm very happy to have him in my collection now, and he is in at my number 5. So I'm going to hand you over to Matt now. He's going to show you his number 5, but also give you a little bit of a rundown of why he also loves Transformers. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Luke. Hi everybody, it's Matt from Keep On Collecting. Really cool to be here with Luke sharing a top 5 Transformers in my collection. A lot of my memories of Transformers come from Saturday morning cartoons with my brothers and I, just loving the G1 episodes from the early 80s. Probably right up until that Transformers movie in 86, which to myself and my brothers, they killed a lot of our favourites off. And I don't think we watched it a lot after the Transformers movie. However, we did collect a lot of the toys, and these toys, a lot of them have remained with me and in my collection over the years. So I'm really happy that I can just show you a few of these toys today. Being a top 5, it was really hard to try and get it down to 5, but I did it. We'll start off with number 5, and that is Trailbreaker. Autobot Trailbreaker. Now, he's not really a a popular Transformer. He was in the original G1 Transformers cartoon quite a bit, actually. And at the time, I knew how to transform him quite well. He was complete. I found him in probably about 6 months to a year ago. And he was just sitting there. I actually forgot that I had him as a kid. And then as soon as I see him, I went, wow, boom, like, I remember having him as a kid. And the guy gave me such an amazing price for a complete Transformer. No tech spec, sadly. But to put him back into the collection and just see him there, it brings back a lot of childhood memories on playing with Transformers. So that's my number 5. Back to you, Luke.
Thank you, Matt. It's a great choice to start off your top 5. But in at my number 4 is Hot Rod. Now, I know Hot Rod divides opinion in the Transformers community. I'm not here to get into the whole debate about Hot Rod and Prime and whose fault it was that Prime died, even though it was Prime's fault. We're going to take a look at Hot Rod. Now, personally, when I was a kid and I was introduced to the Transformers movie in '86, I fell in love with Hot Rod. I thought he was awesome. I just loved how he held himself in the cartoon. I loved what he stood for. I loved the vehicle that he turned into. And obviously this is an unrecognisable vehicle. Like I said before, some of the Autobots, they turned into vehicles that we recognised. They were real world vehicles. But Hot Rod turned into this sort of really vibrant red, orange, sort of race car style vehicle. That huge yellow spoiler on the back. And I just thought it was awesome. With that real sort of foil shiny sticker on the front. And I just loved Hot Rod. As soon as I saw the movie in '86, I loved Hot Rod. So yeah, he is in at my number 4. I just think his colour scheme is fantastic. I think he looks quite good in robot form as well, because some of the Transformers, when they're in robot form, they look a bit naff. But I think he actually looks really good in his robot form. Again, amazing colours. And I was always going to have him in my top 5. Like I said, absolutely love Hot Rod, but there are 3 that I've put in front of him, so it might surprise you that this guy's at number 4. But yeah, look at all that detailing on the vehicle. All those flames running up his bonnet and up the side. Those 3 chrome exhausts running up there, and that massive, recognisable yellow spoiler on the back. I just love this guy. So he is in at my number 4. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Luke. Number 4. Number 4, strangely enough, is my only Decepticon in the group. I guess I'm probably a good kind of guy. Anyway, it is Soundwave. Look at that. Beautiful. I was absolutely fascinated by Soundwave in the cartoon, and he came along quite late in as a child. I think I must have got him when I was 15 or 16, so he didn't see a lot of play time. So right now he's in he's really good condition for like a 40-year-old toy. I loved how he transformed into a cassette player. The kids today know what a true cassette player is. I'm sure some of them do. But he'd open up and boom, out would come, Rumble or Ravage and cause havoc with the Transformers. But Soundwave, absolutely brilliant. My only Decepticon in my top 5, and you can't go wrong with Soundwave. That's my number 4. Thanks, Luke. Back to you, buddy.
Okay, cheers, Matt. Thank you. And in at my number 3, who could argue with this one? At number 3, I've got Red Alert, and I absolutely love this guy. This is one I had as a kid. Again, this is the commemorative version, but exactly the same as the G1s, I believe. But what self-respecting kid in the 80s would not want a fire department vehicle that's a Lamborghini Countach, or as our Tez would say, part of the Lambros? So for example, we've got Red Alert, people like Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, etc. But this is wicked, and just look at the detail, man. I absolutely love this vehicle, and it's got some real weight to it. One thing I loved about Transformers back in the day is not only did they have plastic parts, but they had a lot of die-cast parts as well, and really added some sort of stability and real durable element to the toys. They were really robust and they could take a bit of a beating, but I absolutely love this guy. And yeah, this was always going to come into my collection because I had it as a kid and I absolutely love it. In fact, if you watch the channel, you'll have known that recently Tez also sent me, which was passed on to him from Andy at the Holo Chronicles. Then Tez passed it on to me, a fantastic image of Red Alert, which is the same image that comes on the front of his box art. But yeah, love Red Alert, love the vehicle, and so happy to have it to my collection. So there we go. Number 3 on my list is Red Alert. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Luke. Number 3 in the top 5. Alrighty. Well, this is a bit of a strange story, actually. Number 3 was actually we had as a child, and my brother actually had this Transformer, and it's Jetfire. And the original Jetfire has long gone, and this is one that I've recently found. I think it was probably about a year ago. We found him basically being thrown out, and so he comes with no accessories. He's supposed to have like arm guards, red arm guards, red leg guards, a blaster, and big jets on the back, red jets, but none of that. And look, he's not in too bad a condition for a 40-year-old toy that's been discarded, but he's really well played with. You can see a few scratches on there. We love Jetfire. My brother loved him. I loved him. We got into every game. Like, he was in the cartoon, the G1 in the universe. He was considered like a lack of stamina and not overly strong. Couldn't take too much powerful hits. But in our games, he was a force to be reckoned with, old Jetfire. So I'm really happy to have saved him from being thrown out and putting him into my collection, just to sit out the rest of his days in my G1 collection with all his buddies. That's my number 3. Back to you, Luke.
Okay, folks, getting to the money end of the list now, and probably no surprise, a duplication of Matt's number 4, because this guy was always going to make everybody's list, I think, and that is the Decepticon Soundwave. And what self-respecting kid in the 80s did not want this guy? I mean, mine is very loose, a bit loosey-goosey, but that's probably because he's had a lot of play over the years. Why wouldn't he? But how cool is a Transformer that also turns into a cassette player? Now, I have got his missile and his accessories, but they're tucked away. I'm always worried they're going to get lost, so I don't actually display them with them. So I've not got them out, but Soundwave is awesome. And I think probably the most recognisable and iconic voice of any cartoon character back in the 80s. Soundwave's voice was absolutely iconic and just sounded awesome.
Rumble, activate pile drivers. Operation Tidal Wave.
So as you know, if you know Soundwave, one of the best Decepticons, one of the features was he could fire out little cassettes from his chest that turned into his sidekicks. So for example, Buzzsaw, Rumble, Laserbeak, Ravage, just to name a few. In fact, I think if I press that, I think I've got Ravage just inside his chest. So let's just take a look. So in the cartoon, he would fire these out of his chest. Is that going to shut again? Oh, come on. There we go. He would fire these out of his chest and they would transform and they would go do recon for him, or Ravage would go attack some of the Autobots and things. So let's just transform this guy. And there we've got Ravage, folks. So I'm not going to mess around with him too much because he falls over pretty easy, but what an absolutely awesome Transformer. And again, I don't think I knew anyone when I was a kid that didn't like Soundwave. Absolutely awesome. And yeah, always going to make my top 5. So that is my number 2. Let's go to Matt to see who he's got at his number 2.
Thanks, Luke. Down to number 2. The next 2 are close to my heart. These 2 characters, actually, I guess, these 2 Transformers, if I was to be a Transformer, I would probably end up being one of these 2 characters, my last 2, or one that was maybe mashed together for one. And number 2 is Skids. There we go. Not a very well-known Transformer. Probably not too many people familiar with Skids. But I read his tech spec now and I look at it and go, that is just, it's part of who I am. And he is a daydreamer. He goes, daydreamer often bumps into things at 60 miles per hour while pondering Earth life instead of a Decepticon attack. That would be me. And there's his original tech spec that I had as a kid. I kept all that. And yeah, this is my childhood one. I'm fascinated, like, look at these, this is made of metal. Part of these are made of metal. He's quite a well-played toy. You can see probably see some scratches on him. but he is a really well-loved toy, Skids. And recently, when going shopping, I found an updated version, Skids, in Transformers Legacy. Now, this is all plastic these days, but I was pretty blown away that they're still making a figure of Skids, and that's him in his vehicle form. I haven't taken him out of his box yet, but yeah, I probably will one day. I'm a little bit, I'm not sure what kind of tech specs they are. Anyway, number 2, Skids. Back to you, Luke.
And there we go, folks. So in at my number 1, probably not a surprise to most of you, because if you follow the channel closely, you will have heard me speak about this guy in previous videos, because Galvatron is connected to a very, very fond childhood memory of mine. Back in '86, when my grandparents took us to see the '86 Transformers movie, once we came out, it was a daytime showing, and once we came out, they took us to Woolworths, and Woolworths was the store in our town. Woolworths was the store to go to for toys. It was unbelievable. And they told us, me and my brother, to pick out one Transformer each, and I picked out Galvatron. Now, sadly, this is not my childhood Galvatron. That is long gone, unfortunately. But I actually picked up this guy off Facebook Marketplace for like £13. All he was missing was the orange extension to his cannon, which I managed to pick up fairly easily on eBay. But unfortunately, his electronics weren't working. He was in a little bit of a sorry state. Obviously, he does need some decals, but his chrome was all missing. But I just thought, £13, I needed to add him to my collection. And bless him, good old VTR Dave, what did he do when I picked it up? He offered to repair it. So not only did he restore the chrome, he also repaired the electrics. And once I heard these sounds, my God, did my childhood come rushing back. I mean, they're not particularly pleasant sounds, but oh my God, I remember hearing those noises all through my house. My mum and dad couldn't stand it after a while, and what I loved about Galvatron is not only did he make noises and lights and sounds, but I don't actually think he was billed as a triple changer. I don't think he was marketed as a triple changer, but he absolutely was. So he would transform into a robot, but he could also transform into a land cannon. You may remember in the movie, that's the form he's in when he disintegrates Starscream.
Megatron, is that you?
Here's a hint.
But he also turns into a handgun as well, very much like Megatron. And it was because obviously Galvatron is reformatted Megatron, as you know. But I absolutely love the fact that I could use it as a handgun, the land cannon, and then I think he looks awesome in robot mode. Now, a lot of people don't like Galvatron as a Transformer, and they think he looks ugly in robot mode. Personally, I think he looks awesome, and I absolutely love him. But coupled with the fact that he is also connected to that childhood memory, Galvatron is probably my favourite Transformer, and he was always going to be at my number 1. So there we go. G1 Galvatron is my number 1 choice. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Luke. Number 1 for my top 5 Transformers. I hope you're not disappointed. He's a tiny fella. He's one of the little mini bots, but you know, close to my heart. He had a big episode in the Golden Lagoon in season 2 of the G1 Transformers. There he is, Beachcomber. He's not an overly popular Transformer, but once again, this is my childhood one. These are his tech specs, and I read him. He's got no interest in warfare, prefers long lone trips into the deserts and along coasts, the only places he feels he can escape to and relax. Cool-headed, low-key person. Well, I don't know if I'm personable, but he's laid back. And I'd like to think that maybe I'm a little bit laid back and a little bit like Beachcomber and Skids in these regards. So he's always been my favourite. I've always been fascinated with Beachcomber. So simple to transform too, right? You know, just, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And recently on a toy hunt, I found an updated version of Beachcomber. Power of the Primes. Beachcomber. Look at that. So he still transforms into a bit of a dune buggy. He's not too... He's a little bit bigger than the original. There's the original there. It's a little bit bigger, but, you know, I'm so happy that they still look at these little Transformers like Beachcomber and Skids. Thank you very much, Luke, for having me on your amazing channel. We love watching you, Lukey. I know there's a lot of people in Australia that enjoy watching your channel, and we watch it religiously each week when you put a new episode out. So thank you for having me on as a guest, showing you my top 5 Transformers in my collection. Really appreciate it, buddy. It's me signing out. Take care, look after yourselves, and remember to keep on collecting. See you next time. Bye.
So there we have it, folks. They are our top 5 Transformers toys. Were there any shock inclusions in there? Are there any that you would have had in there? Are there any that you wouldn't have had in there? Let us know in the comments what your choices were. But there you go, folks. That is mine and Matt's top 5. So I just want to say again, another massive thank you to Matt. Matt, I know how much time and effort goes into these videos, so I really do appreciate you taking the time to show us your top 5 Transformers. Some fantastic choices in there. If you don't know Matt's channel, everyone, keep on collecting. Get over there, give Matt and Andy your support. I will leave a link in the description. Amazing channel, some fantastic toy lines on show as well. And they are just two funny guys. They clearly love what they do. They have a great relationship back and forth. Very funny guys. Give them your support. I know they will appreciate it. But yeah, there we go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. Not a bad video to start with 2024. Back with a bang. There will be more collaborations on the channel during the year, so look out for those. But yeah, thank you again to Matt. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. All that good stuff, you know the drill by now. Like, subscribe if you feel you want to, leave a comment. I try to get back to everybody, and as always, keep on collecting. I'll see you next time, folks. There's nothing like a robot.